Okay, so I've travelled over to a wall here. What this wall could be in your place, it may in fact be a door frame. The door frame is also a great place to practice this as a skill, or anything that's solid that isn't going to fall over as we lean against it. So in your programming, you'll read this skill as wall bumps, and that is just kind of a descriptive word to explain what we're about to do to this wall. So what we are looking at doing is using that same brace midline position that we had while lying on the ground, and using it while using our hips into a flexion motion or a hinge pattern. So the best way to get the feeling for this is standing with our heels against the wall. You can't see my feet, but it's a-okay. Listen to this, I'm going to tap my heels against the wall, so I am making contact. If I'm leaning against the wall, if now, with the heels on the ground, we were asked to pick something up off the ground, what would happen is as we lean forward, our butt's going to push into the wall and we're going to fall forward. And that is 100% normal. Everyone does it. It's actually a great party trick if you have a friend you want to make see fall over. So from here, what we're going to do to increase our hinge, to get some control over this hinge, we're going to mark out one foot. So put foot heel to toe. Then stand on our front leg and we'll find a position where our heels are under our hips, or a normal standing position. And from here, what I want you to do is, can you touch your butt back to the wall you're just leaning against? So for me to do this, I like to imagine I'm shoving someone behind me with my butt, and it looks like this. Touch. Stand tall. Okay? If we find we get to a certain point and it makes us want to fall over, it may mean that our feet are longer than what I expected, and you may want to take a little shuffle back to get that feeling. But it needs to be a motion that our shoulders travel forward and our hips travel back. Okay? Gentle touch on the wall, and then stand tall. In your notes, I'll put something in there like a set of 10, and what I want is a good set of 10 where everything stays tight. So before we do that hinge back, if you could imagine you're back in that dead bug position and you are checking your shoes, but you're not looking down at your feet, you're bracing through the midline, so your abs are turned on, everything's activated, and then you're reaching back to touch the wall, that's going to be perfect. Okay? Let me change my camera angle slowly so I can show you some common faults with this one. That's a good angle there, isn't it? You can really see the wall. Alright, slightly different angle. Let me show you here again. This would be a real common fault that we would see. So I'm doing my foot measuring out. I've got my feet underneath my hips. Here's a good one again. I'm turning my abs on. I'm looking straight ahead. I'm bumping the wall with my hips. And then I'm standing tall. Okay, here's a poorly performed one. If I'm too focused on staring across the room, what I will do is I'll poke my bum back, but I would have lost my midline position. So if I poke my bum back and keep my eyes across the room, I'm going to get a tight tension pain in my mid to lower back because I'm arching my back. The other option here is we are going too hollow, so we're looking down at our shoes as we do this, and we're hinging back, but our back is rounded. Okay? So our idea is that as we're standing tall, we're standing up against gravity, we're bracing our core, and from the hips up, nothing's going to change. It's just going to come from the hips. We touch the wall, we stand it tall. Okay? Another good one to think is making sure our chin doesn't move, because that's normally what stems the problems. If our eyes and chin stay up, we get into an arch position. If our eyes and chin stay down, they come into a rounded position. We really want it to stay as neutral as we can. Okay? From here, we're going to learn how to do the hinge away from the wall. So not going to be using the wall as a training wheels, but I'm going to get some free range movements. So let me shuffle my camera around. Alright. So, after we've seen some wall bumps, what we're going to be looking at is a position that we like to call waiting in the outfield, or what most people think of it as, it's the same position that you get into when you're really, really puffed. Say you're out playing rugby, or you just finished a giant run, or you're just a little bit out of breath. And it's this position here where our hands come down to our knees, we're looking down at the ground just in front of us, and we're breathing. Okay, this is, for later on in the sessions, the best position to recover your breathing in as well. Okay, now the way I want you to get into this position is I want you to put your hands down on your knees. I want you to grab your knees and push them out. So we're giving them a little bit of a pull out, but our feet aren't leaving the ground. And then from there, we're going to bring our abs into that squeezed position. Okay, front on again. I'm reaching down to my knees. I'm pushing them out. I'm bracing my abs. I'm letting some weight travel into my knees. From side on, it's a little more obvious. I'm reaching down to find my knees. I'm pushing them out. and then I'm bracing my abs and finding that neutral position. So you see my back's come into a real flat position here. And if you've got a body-sized mirror, like a full-length mirror, or your partner's home, or you've got friends around that are watching you do the session, it's really good to have someone else check out to see if you look like you think you look like. Okay? Common faults with this is it's mainly in the back position. So if we find that we are braced in this position here, we're not quite in that neutral spin line, we've got a rounded back, and that can be hard to fix as well. The other one is overarch, the same with the wall bump, where our butt's poked out and our eyes are across the room. Okay? We really want the eyes to sit about 1.5 feet out from our toes, and that's going to give us a neutral neck position. So we're not tucking the chin, we're not looking up too high. Okay? Another fun thing to do here with the knees is as you grab it and squeezing them, it's also going to turn on our lats, so that's going to pull our shoulders in line. So if our shoulders are out of line out here, as soon as I try and grab, if I got a neutral spine, my shoulders still right forward, as I try and grab my knees, I'm going to be pulling my shoulders back, and that's going to fix my shoulder position. Okay? Now with this here, we are going to do sets of this. It shouldn't be too hard to find that brace position, but what I want you to do between each one is I want you to find waiting in the outfield, then I want you to stand up, I want you to shake, I want you to see if you can get back in that same position without having too much difficulty finding it again. Okay? It's good if you can get it doing all the steps, around, knees back, pull the shoulders on, brace, cool, stand up, shake and go again. But it'd be better if we could just fall in and out of that position. Okay? This position directly leads into deadlifts. So for us to get to lifting an object off the ground, we have to get our hands a little lower than our knees. So let me just move my camera a little bit further down as well. Alright. So we've done our sets of waiting in the outfield. We've gone jelly-bodied. We've found our waiting in the outfield position again. Jelly-bodied, we found it again. Now what we're going to do is slide our hands down our legs a little deeper. So how this is going to look from the side is I've found my waiting in the outfield. I'm braced. From here I'm going to turn my hands so they're in front. And then I'm going to bend at the knees to bring my hands down to my shins. And I'm going to give my shins a little itch. And then I'm going to stand tall. Waiting in the outfield. Standing tall. Okay? Back to the outfield. Pressure on the outside of the knees. Just bending at the knees. Coming to itch our shins. Then standing tall. Okay? Common faults of this one here is, once we think about bending the knees, sometimes our body can move forward and our knees can start to travel forward. We get that dorsiflexion thing happening. So the way we can avoid that is having that body length mirror again, having a friend watch us, or letting our neck be a little more movable so we can look down and see what our ankle and knees are doing. So, I'm waiting in the outfield. This is going to be a common fault that we'd see. Let me go with rounded back first. I'm going down to itch my shins, but I'm not going to bend my knees. All I'm going to do is bring my shoulders down and forward. And you'll see as I do that, I get to a cat back position. Okay? Back to waiting in the outfield. I'm braced. Little bend in the knees, and my hands should slide down automatically. Cool? Again, like waiting in the outfield, do a good one. Shake the body up like we're racing it, getting a fresh board to practice on. Then going again and seeing how that feels. Let me show you the knees forward fault. That's a common as one as well. So waiting in the outfield, we're reaching down to get to the middle of our shins to give them an itch. What happens is our knees bend and travel forward. So this happens. Okay, I'm still neutral spined. I'm itching my shins. Everything here does seem okay. However, you can't see this right now. My feet are twisted right in to get there. Let me see if I can move this camera down to show that a little better. So, waiting in the outfield knees. Knees are pushed out, feet are flat on the ground, the weight's in our heels. Let's come down, weight in the outfield. I'm going to itch my shins, bring up my knees, travel forward. Neutral spine, facing front on. My knees have had to cave to get into this position. Is it possible to get them out and back? Not as well to get the weight and back of the heel. So that is the key reason of why we're going to be working on those functional patterns in our body. Okay? You may find that your stance may be wider than mine. Mine's quite tight underneath my hips. Sometimes a wider stance is nice for this as well. Okay, I'm going to pause the video here. I'll let yourself prepare. I'm going to look at our workout section of this session too.